I want you to think about the most magnetic person you know. What if I told you their attractiveness has absolutely nothing to do with trying? Seriously, they don't chase attention, they don't perform for others. Instead, they've mastered this incredible thing called the art of silent attraction, and that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So let's just start with this question right here. What if the most attractive people never actually try to be? It kind of flips everything we've been taught on its head, right? Most of us think attraction is all about loud gestures, being the funniest person in the room, having the best stories, but the truly compelling people, they get it. They understand there's a much more powerful alternative, a quiet, silent magnetism that just draws people to them, effortlessly.
And here you can really see the difference side by side. On the left, you've got loud attraction. This is the world of chasing, of performing, of constantly seeking validation. It's exhausting, frankly. But then look at the right, silent attraction. This is about being so authentic, so present, that you naturally draw people in. It's a total shift from doing something to get noticed to simply being someone worth noticing.
So what are we really talking about here? While silent attraction is that magnetism that comes from who you are deep down, especially when you think no one's watching. It's not some trick or a social technique you can just switch on and off. No, it's a genuine, irresistible presence on the outside that's only possible when you've built the right systems on the inside. It is a full-on transformation from the inside out.
And you know what? There's some incredible science that backs all of this up. Look at this number, 93%. This comes from research by Dr. Albert Mehrabian, and what he found is kind of mind-blowing. The actual impact of our communication, the stuff that really lands with people, is 93% nonverbal. The words you use, that's a tiny 7%. Everything else is your tone of voice, your body language, your whole vibe.
So, here's the bottom line, the crucial point of all this. Your attractiveness is overwhelmingly decided by how you carry yourself and the energy you're putting out there. And this is exactly why faking it till you make it just doesn't work in the long run. We humans have this built-in radar for fakeness, for when someone's actions don't match their inner reality. We can just sense when something is off, even if we can't quite explain why.
Okay, so if our nonverbal energy is the real game changer, then that brings us to the first, and honestly the most critical step. If you want to change your external presence, you have to start on the inside. It's all about mastering your own inner state.
And the core quality we're really aiming for here is something called grounded presence. You know this feeling. It's when you're around someone and their energy just feels solid, stable, calm. It's not about being loud or the center of attention. It's about having such a complete handle on your internal world that other people unconsciously feel safe and at ease around you. And that feeling, it's incredibly magnetic.
So how in the world do we build this presence? Well, it really comes down to 3 core practices. First up, emotional regulation. This is your ability to stay centered and calm even when the world outside is chaotic. Then there's attention control. This means being truly 100% present with someone, not just waiting for your turn to talk. And third, physical awareness. This is about consciously letting go of that tension we all carry around in our shoulders or our jaw.
Now, when you start to really practice those 3 internal skills, something amazing starts to happen on the outside. You begin to naturally embody this calm, unshakable confidence. And let's be clear, this is not arrogance. It's a quiet stability that people find incredibly compelling.
And this quote right here, it just says it all perfectly. You can't fake the calm presence of someone who's learned to regulate their emotions. You just can't. It has to be real. It's the genuine result of doing the inner work, not just putting on a performance for an audience.
So building this kind of confidence rests on a few key pillars. Let's just touch on a couple of these. First, it's about acknowledging your emotions, feeling them, but not letting them hijack the car and take you for a ride. And second, look at that idea of creating space. This is about using mindfulness to create a tiny pause between something happening to you and how you choose to respond. Mastering that little pause, that's where all your power is.
Once you have that foundation of inner calm, your social interactions start to completely transform. You stop trying so hard to be interesting, and you naturally become genuinely interested in other people. And the key, the absolute master key to that whole shift, is deep listening.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We live in a world where everyone is basically screaming for the microphone, just waiting for their turn to talk. In an environment like that, the person who has actually mastered the art of listening, they don't just stand out. They are a beacon. They're a relief. They're like an oasis in the desert.
And there is a massive difference between how most of us listen and how these truly magnetic people listen. Most of us are stuck in listening to respond mode. We're just formulating our comeback, waiting for a gap so we can jump in. But listening to understand? That is a whole different ballgame. It's about being fully present, putting your own judgments aside, and just getting genuinely curious about seeing the world through their eyes. So, take a second and be really honest with yourself. Which one of those are you most of the time? It's a really powerful question to sit with for a moment.
And all of this brings us to the final stage, which is all about integration. See, this isn't some project you finish and then check off a list. It's a lifelong process of growth that makes this silent attraction a natural, sustainable part of who you are.
This is what that lifelong journey looks like. It's this continuous loop of growth where you're always learning, always evolving. And along the way, your focus shifts to adding value to other people's lives. You practice all these skills so much that they stop being skills and they just become an effortless, authentic expression of who you've become.
So when you boil it all down, the single most important takeaway is this. Attraction isn't a set of actions you perform. It's a natural byproduct of your character. It's not something you do, it's who you become. So really, the only question left for you to answer is, who are you choosing to become?